How to build muscle. My guide. See, look, this was around maybe 3, 4 years ago, and this was probably but last week to be fair. Got a haircut since moved, but this is my guide how to build muscle as a teenager and bulk up. Now, here we have some benefits to being muscular. First one, of course, aesthetics. Like, you want to look big, you want to look muscular, it looks good. Number one here, confidence. The number one thing that built up my confidence is getting in the gym and just bulking up. Building that muscle, it just builds up your self-confidence. Now here again behind me, respect. It gives you respect from other people. People see you and they go, he has worked hard for how he looks. It gains you respect. Now, I'm gonna break down every single muscle part, every single split, every way to build that muscle part. Literally just a definitive guide. Because I wish I had this stuff. Right. How to build muscle. This is my definitive guide on how to build muscle as a teenager, how to bulk up. Here we have a picture of me from about 3, 4 years ago, and this was me literally last week, I believe. Here I was weighing in at about 60 odd kilos. Here I'm 95, and I was 14 in this. I was about 6 foot 5'11", and I'm now 6 foot 6'1", 6'1". We can round up. So yeah, I just grew out my frame. Obviously, a little bit of height added a little bit of mass, but you can see the muscle difference. Now, I'm gonna break down this literally everything I wish I knew. How to build certain muscle groups, what certain muscle groups are, certain splits you can do, benefits to splits, negatives to different splits, literally everything. Now, first of all, these are the 3 benefits to being muscular. First one behind me, you can't see. Respect. I'm sure you've been in that sort of moment where you've seen someone walk past and you're like, it just gives them respect from you. If you see someone who looks good, they worked hard for the way they look, you're going to give them respect no matter what. And if you're that person, put yourself in their shoes, you're going to give yourself more respect. And that leads to this one, more confidence. I used to really struggle with my confidence, but getting in the gym and just building a bit of muscle was the number one thing to build up my confidence. And also just being aesthetic, just looking good. These are the 3 main benefits. Now, first topic I want to talk about, nutrition. Now, very rarely in life is something 50-50. It's normally 80-20. 80% of the work comes from 20%. 80% of the benefits come from 20% of the work. Now, you're going to spend more time in the gym than you are eating. You're going to spend, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day in the gym. You're only going to be eating for about half hour if you bring it all up together. Now, 80% of the muscle comes from nutrition. I spent years, months and years, literally eating bullshit. Like, I had no concept. I would just go into the gym, get back home and eat maybe 30 grams of protein for the day. Eat about 500 or 1,000 calories. And no wonder I look like this. I didn't know any better. I was working my absolute arse off in the gym, but it didn't do anything. It didn't. Nutrition is 80% of the work. You can go and work as hard as you want in the gym. You need to eat properly. That brings us to this, protein intake. You have different micronutrients. So the main 3 being protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Protein is the main one, especially if you're building muscle. Now, my general rule of thumb is a gram of protein per pound of body weight. I've seen a lot of people say 0.8 grams or 1.2 grams or whatever it is. I've experimented with them all. This was by far the one that built me the most muscle. So to break it down, I'm about 95 kilos right now. 95 times 2.2 to convert to pounds, about 210 pounds. So I'm on 210 grams of protein a day. Right now, I'm not trying to gain muscle. I'm sort of maintaining. I'm not aiming to build. It would be nice to build more muscle, but I'm trying to stay in my weight class. So I'm probably on about 180 to 200. But if you're bulking up, So say this guy here, 60 kilos. 60 kilos is about 140 pounds, I believe. 130, 140. You probably want to eat about that much grams of protein. When you're bulking up, you need that extra protein to build that muscle. And next, carbs and fats. So there's a lot of people who don't like to eat carbs because of the sort of brain fog, and they think it's going to make them fat. Carbs are fuel. Especially me, I'm a powerlifter. Before going into an SBD session, I'm maxing out on all 3 lifts basically. I need the carbs. Carbs are fuel. The same as fat. Not doesn't matter so much, but don't just cut out all fat. Like, you need all 3 of the macronutrients, but protein especially. I remember sitting there and I would always aim for 200 grams of protein most of the time. Even when I was about 60, 70 kilos, I'd aim for this. And I would sit there in bed and I might have 150 grams of protein done. And I would literally eat about 200 grams of peanut butter just to meet my nutrients. It's insane. But there's so many different sources you can get this protein from. Like stuff like lean meats, even protein powder, but I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Anything. Everything has a little bit of protein in it. It all adds up. But stuff like chicken, meat, mince, anything like that. Now, calories. If you're bulking up, you need to be tracking calories. There's 2 sort of ends of the spectrum. You have a calorie deficit and a calorie surplus, and you have the sort of maintenance calories at the moment, where I'm at. Now, a calorie surplus is when you eat more than your body burns a day. And the way to find your maintenance calories is you can literally Google maintenance calories, how to find my maintenance calories. You put in stuff like your age, how active you are, how much you weigh, and it will give you a rough estimate. So mine is about 2,500. So I'm eating about that. Whereas me here, because I was doing football, I was in the gym 4 to 6 times a week, I'd be eating about 3,000, 3,500. Now, calorie deficit is when you're trying to lose weight. So say your maintenance calories is 2,000, just a even number. Calorie deficit, if you eat 1,800, you would gradually lose weight. It's calories in, calories out. It's none of this whatever foods, like certain foods aren't going to make you fat. It's just calories in, calories out. That's all it is. If you eat more calories than you burn a day, you're going to gain weight. If you eat less calories than you burn a day, you're going to lose weight. It is literally that simple. Like I said, just find out your maintenance calories and eat maybe 200 to 500 extra calories a day for however long until you will build muscle. And if you don't, sort of take the maintenance calories when you Google it and find out, take it with a pinch of salt, because obviously it's an estimate. It's not exact. But if you're eating, say you thought your maintenance calories was 2,000 again, and you're eating 2,200, and you've been doing that for a month and haven't gained any weight, in fact you've lost weight, you're not eating enough. It's that simple. It's really that simple. I promise you. I went through this exact same thing. I found my maintenance calories, it was about 2,500, and I was eating 2,700, and I wasn't gaining weight. But it was because I was too active. I was doing football twice a week. I was riding my bike everywhere, going on runs, going to the gym. My maintenance calories was about 2,500 to 2,800. It varies. Some day I'd eat 3,000 calories and won't gain any weight. You need to experiment. Take this with a pinch of salt. If you're not gaining weight or you're not losing enough weight, but that's not what this is about. You're not eating enough. It's that simple. Now, tracking calories. There are two sort of ways I've experimented with this sort of macro factor, this like AI thing. You take a picture of your meal, it'll give you all the macronutrients, protein, calories, fat, whatever. Then you have MyFitnessPal, where you physically put in all the ingredients, you can make meals on it, and it gives you the same sort of thing. Do not use this. This is an absolute waste of time. I think it was Will Tennyson did a video on this. He took a picture of like stuff, and it was like, okay, it's got this much protein in it or this many calories, and actually it was so off. It's all it is AI sort of trying to figure out what's in the food. It's not correct. MyFitnessPal is so much better. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's going to work. And I've also sort of thought of this term hidden calories. When I was bulking up, every calorie counted. There's so many hidden calories. Stuff like, I've got coffee here. There's, I don't know, 20 to 50 milliliters of milk in there. It's extra calories, especially if you're losing weight. Them extra calories are going to mess you up. It's just small things. If you have, I don't know, 5 coffees a day, at 50 mils or whatever, that's 250 milliliters of milk. That's a good couple hundred calories. And other stuff like sauces. I remember tracking my calories and I'd have like, I don't know, pasta or something. And I haven't put the sauce in. I didn't even know what the sauce was. I've just put like the sort of pasta, like the meatballs, stuff like that, cheese. The sauce actually has most of the calories. So just make sure you're sort of tracking that. It doesn't have to be exact, but just taking that into account, because that is where a lot of people mess up, especially on a calorie deficit. They're eating, I don't know, this, that, and the other, but then they're not tracking sort of, I don't know, the Coca-Cola that they had, again, hidden calorie, or the sauce that they had, the barbecue sauce or the honey mustard with their chips. That's got about 300 calories in it. It's little things like that add up. If you have 2 sauces a day and then a couple of coffees, that's an extra 500 to 1,000 calories easily. Now, supplements. What have I actually... Oh, okay. Supplements. Oh, you can see here, meat and actual food always comes over protein powder. Always. What if I told you, going from here to here, I barely used any supplements. Barely. I think I might have bought... This is a 3-year transformation. I think I bought maybe 3 tubs of protein powder. Honestly, this is so much better for you, especially it has so many like different nutrients and it's so much cheaper. By no means am I telling you don't have the protein powder, but what these are genuinely scams. They're BS supplements. Yes, they're gonna work, but a lot of them are filled with so much shit, especially like these sort of off-brand ones. I remember going to sort of Poundland and B&M, buying the cheapest protein there is. It's, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Yeah, there's protein in it, but it's not the right kind. But prioritizing sort of lean meat is so much better for you, and it's gonna be cheaper. It really is. Yes, you might have to cook it a little bit more time consuming, but it's gonna work wonders for you. Especially when stuff like this has like creatine in it. And like that will bring us to here, sort of the big 3 behind me. So yeah, the big 3: protein powder, creatine, pre-workout. You don't need any of these. I take pre-workout on a daily, like if I train, I take it. You don't need it, not at all. Neither do you need protein powder or creatine, especially protein powder. Genuinely, you don't need it. I went through a phase of like, I need this, I need that, I need protein powder, I need BCAAs, I need EAAs, creatine, pre-workout, literally everything. I needed it all. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You don't need it to build muscle. Yes, it might help, but by no means are you going to build more muscle if you take it than if you don't. So just keep that in mind, because at the end of the day, these supplement companies, their main priority is to make money. And if they convince teenagers like us that if you have this protein powder over this chicken, you're going to build 50% more muscle, instantly so many gullible people are going to go and buy it. But that is their main priority, making profit. So don't be a consumer. There's so many of these just different supplements, so much stuff coming out. Most of it's bullshit. Most of it fucks up your hormones. The amount of acne I've gotten from protein powder is unreal. So yeah, you don't need any of it by any means. If you think it's going to help you, if you're taking pre-workout, like pre-workout does help. I will not lie, especially when I'm doing like SBD, having that little bit of caffeine, everything, salt in it, it helps. But by no means am I going to do better with it than without. So just don't worry. Especially as a newbie, relying on all these supplements isn't good for you. Right. Next one, training with intent. This is something I work with my coach. I'm a powerlifting coach. The number one thing, training with intent. Especially I compete. It's so easy to train with intent when you're a week out, a month out, even a year out. You're counting the days you've got 200 sessions left, or 20 sessions, or even 2 sessions left. You're counting them. You go, okay, I'm working towards this goal. But when you're not, I'm in an off season right now. I don't know when my next competition is. It might be March next year. It might not be. When there's no goal in sight, it's so easy to lack on intent and just sort of half-ass your training. It's so important to train with intent. Now, one sort of subsection, training with intent, training to failure. Like I said, I'm a powerlifter. This advice is for sort of bodybuilders and powerlifters, just if you want to build muscle. But training to failure, especially as a bodybuilder, is so important. Training with intent, not only does it just build up the muscle, but it just builds up a bit of discipline in you. But if you're more of a powerlifter, use this sort of term, RPE/RIR. So rate of perceived exertion and reps in reserve. So that's sort of how many reps you have left, and like how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult the set was. As a powerlifter, this is so important. If I'm going and hitting a max deadlift, and then the next day hitting a max squat, and then the next day hitting a max bench, I'm not going to make progress. My CNS is going to be absolutely messed up. As a bodybuilder, training to failure, especially on sort of accessory movements, triceps, biceps, because on a set, say, of 12 reps, you don't build muscle. You don't break down the muscle in the first 5 reps. You build the muscle, or break down the muscle in the last 5, in the last 2. That is what's difficult, and that is what burns the most. You're building the most muscle in them reps. So why skip them? Training with intent, tracking workouts, and progressively overloading. This, again, is so important. I don't know why. Yeah, okay. Tracking workouts, progressively overloading. This is my split, or part of it. And I've sort of cropped out, but I'm tracking all my weights every week. I'm using the RPE 6765777 and progressively overloading. So one week I might do an RPE 5 single on squat. Maybe I'll take 170. And the next week I'm hitting an RPE 6, I'm taking 177. Then the next week I'm hitting an RPE 8, whatever. I'm building up, progressively overloading, and then you reset it. So that's what, in terms of powerlifting, but progressively overloading as a bodybuilder, maybe you're doing, I don't know, dumbbell curls. 20 kilos. Pick up the 20 kilos. You're working in a 6 to 10 rep range, which is that's what I recommend. I don't like going above 12 because I feel like it's just extra sort of volume you don't need. But say you're on 20 kilos. One week you do 6 reps, the next week you do 8 reps, then say you do 9 reps the next week, then 10 reps the next week. If you keep going and just staying on 10, you're not gonna you're gonna build muscle, but nowhere near as much, especially when you get out of that newbie phase, sort of the phase I'm in, where I've been going to the gym for 4 years. What you need to do is progressive overload. So when I hit 10 reps on the 20s, I'm gonna up the weight and start on 6 reps again. So many people are scared to sort of reset, but up in the weight and then go in, okay, 6 reps 1 week, 8 reps the next week, 10 reps the next week, and then up in it. You started on 20s, you add an extra half a kilo every month, even every week, even every year sometimes. You're building up, you're getting stronger and stronger, you're gonna get bigger. If you did bicep curls and I did 10 reps of 10 kilos every week, I'm gonna get stronger. And when it gets to me going for 3 years, it's not gonna help. There are gonna be so many reps in reserve. So what you need to do is just focus on this, building up the weight and reps every week. This is why I sort of like the training to failure, because it helps you. If you fail the 9th rep on this, you know you had no reps in, or you failed the 10 reps, or you know you only had 9 reps. You didn't have a single one left. Whereas the next week you hit 10, that you know that's progress. You failed the 11th rep, you know that's progress. Whereas if you sort of leave 2 reps in reserve and you hit 9 reps, and then the next week you leave 2 reps in reserve 10, it's quite difficult to gauge what RPE and how many reps in reserve you have, especially as a newbie, because you don't really know how it feels. So yeah, especially as a newbie, just training to failure, progressively overloading. When you get more serious, if you go into the gym, you haven't been going for that long, you've been going for a month maybe, you can go in and do whatever, you're going to build muscle. But when you start getting bigger and bigger, more competitive, it's going to be more difficult. Now, different gym splits. I've experimented with literally every single one. Some did absolutely nothing for me, some worked wonders. Now, the first one, bro split. If you don't know what it's where you train a different muscle every day of the week. So maybe Monday you hit chest, Tuesday you hit arms, Wednesday you hit legs, Thursday you have off, Friday you hit shoulders, so on, so on. Now, the pros of this, it's very easy recovery. You're training once a week, so if you hit chest on the Monday, you're not training chest until the next Monday. You've got a week to recover that muscle. That also means you can train with a higher intensity. If you train with higher intensity, it's going to take you longer to sort of recover. So you've got that long recovery time. And it also allows you to focus on certain muscles. If you've got a chest dedicated session, you have an hour of just hitting chest or 2 hours of just hitting chest. Same as like something like shoulders. Shoulders, a lot of people sort of lack on. Whereas you have a dedicated session to that, you're going to go in, you're going to hit shoulders, you're going to absolutely work that muscle. Now, cons. Only training once a week. For me, I recover very quickly. When you get further into sort of going to the gym, you can recover more quickly. It's like if I went out and, I don't know, did a run or something like that. I don't run a lot of the time, so I'm gonna take longer to recover than if someone who runs a marathon went out on the same distance as me. It's just common sense. So if you've been going to the gym for a while, only training once a week, you're going to recover from that chest session within 3 days, within 2 or 3 days. And you're just leaving that sort of 3 days where you could be building. If you think about it, say you have like a block, you're building like Lego on top of each other. You've got your first block, or first 2 blocks, you've got 2 blocks together, and you hit the muscle. So you break that one block, you've got one block left, but then you're rebuilding. So you build that back the 2 blocks. You've got 3 blocks now. Take one away, you build up 2. If you do that once a week, you're only building up 1 extra block. If you train twice a week, you're building up 2 blocks. You're sort of building muscle at twice the rate. As a newbie, I would sort of recommend this. It gives you sort of a better mind muscle connection. You're really focusing in on the muscle, and it's going to take you longer to recover, so you might need that extra week recovery time. But if you've been going to the gym for a while, you're going to recover so quickly, and you're literally leaving gains on the table if you're only training once a week. With the low frequency, I suppose it's high volume, low frequency. You're just not training the muscle enough. And stuff like shoulders, a lot of the time don't need a dedicated day. Now, push pull legs. This is what I did for the longest time. Saw influencers going, okay, this is the best split. This is what built me this physique, and I believed it. So push pull legs it's sort of a staple. Now, some pros. Push pull legs. Basically, say on the Monday you train push. So push muscles would be chest, triceps, and shoulders, and then you train pull, which is back and biceps, and then you train legs, and then maybe rest, push pull legs again. Some pros to this is you get to train the muscle twice a week. You're hitting push, pull, legs, then you rest, and then push again. So you're going to build up that twice recovery. You've got 3 days in between. And it's high volume. Obviously, with you training twice as much, it's going to be higher volume. But some cons. The main thing that I struggled with this is it's very repetitive. It's so repetitive. Push, pull, legs, push, pull, just that literally forever. And there was a different sort of take on this split that I also used to do, which I found a lot better. But another thing is an 8-day split, which I sort of struggled with because if it's Monday, I want that to be my chest session or push session. Whereas if it's an 8-day split, you're doing push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, legs, rest. Where you would be having a push session on one Monday, and next Monday you'd be resting, and then the Tuesday would be that next push session. So just having that 8-day split will just sort of mess up everything for me. Like, if I was working one day or I was doing this a certain day, I couldn't promise that it was on a rest day. One thing of this is you sort of got to train with less intensity. If you're training twice a week, sort of intensity and volume on like a scale. If you have high volume, you have to have a little bit of lower intensity because it's going to take longer to recover from that high volume. Whereas if you train with high intensity, you've got to have that low volume. But yeah, this is what I did for a very long time. Now, the Arnold split, made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger. But some pros to this split, the split is, I believe it's Monday or day 1, chest back, day 2, shoulders and arms, and then day 3 is legs, and then sort of rest, and then again. So it's an 8-day split, just like the push-pull legs, but just switched a couple of muscles around. Some pros to this: you get to train each muscle twice a week, just like push-pull legs, and it's very high volume. Again, you're training everything twice a week. Some cons: again, it's very repetitive. You're doing the exact same thing. Carryover fatigue. When I was doing this, I didn't really think about it, but if on the first day you're training chest and back, when you're training chest, you're pushing. When you're pushing, you're going to use your tricep. So you're training tricep one day, and then the next day you're also training triceps. You're not going to be able to sort of build up that muscle. You're not going to be able to break it down as much because it's already broken down. You're going to be fatigued, especially if you're going for like 1 rep maxes, stuff like that. That carryover fatigue, it's gonna affect you. Now the 8-day split again, it's like push pull legs. Day 1, day 2, day 3, rest, and then reset. 8-day split. It's not a round number. low intensity again. You're training with higher volume, so you need to have that slightly lower intensity. Now, upper, lower. Won't lie to you, I didn't really do this that often. I think I tried it for maybe a week or two. I never liked it. I never liked it. I never liked training legs. I do now. Um, but the thought of training shoulders, arms, back, chest, and then just legs one day, I didn't like it. But some pros, it's a 6 day split. So upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest. Or even you can make it 7, have 2 rest days. And it's easy recovery. Very easily recovery. You can have 2 days in between a session. Yeah, some cons, some very long gym sessions. If you're training that upper day, especially, you're going into the gym, training chest, then you're training back, then you're training arms, then you're training shoulders. That's going to be a long session. It could also be a very short session. Depends how sort of in depth you want to go into the muscle. I see a lot of people who a lot of sort of like older people who have like kids and stuff like that. They work. They want to be in and out within half hour. Upper lower is quite good. You can go in and do like a set of bench. That's going to train chest, shoulders. Then do like a set of rows, back and biceps, and then maybe like some bicep curls and triceps just to finish it off, or some lat raises. For literally 3 exercises. But if you want to go into in depth and you want to build a lot of muscle, I would not recommend this, because that upper day is going to be stacked. You're going to be in the gym for 4 hours if you go into depth on everything. And yeah, lacking muscle groups. So the first sort of muscle you think of upper is chest and back. You're sort of going to lack on them shoulders, and it's going to show. I lacked a lot of my legs. What I would do is, a lot of the time, I would do push pull rest, push pull legs. So I'd make it a 7 day split. I was only training legs once a week, and my legs were lacking. They're not anymore. They're actually one of my stronger muscle groups because I started training them. But you can have lacking muscle groups, and when you get bigger, that is going to show a lot. Now, PPL X Arnold. This is what I did for years. I did this for about 3 odd years. So you're doing a combination of push pull legs and the Arnold split. So say you did day 1 push, day 2 pull, day 3 legs, rest, and then chest back, shoulders, arms, and then legs. Some pros to this is it's unique, and it gives you a lot of variation sort of with what you want to do. It just sort of divides the week up, and you can just have a little bit of fun with it. And you get to hit each muscle group twice a week. Some cons, however, it's an 8 day split. A lot of the time I would skip that last leg session, but don't do that. And it's quite difficult to track progress. If I'm going, say, I'm doing chest press on the first push day, and I get 80 kilos for 5 reps, but then I do the Arnold split day 1 and I've trained back, this, that, the other before that, and I only get it for 3 or 4 reps. It's going to look like on paper I'm not making enough progress, but I'm going to have fatigue from the other muscle groups. But I would recommend this. Again, it is all about trying stuff. There's no one split that's going to build you the muscle. You just have to experiment. There's going to be ones you like. There's going to be ones you absolutely hate, like the bro split. But if you don't know where to start, I would actually recommend that. Now, let's talk about my split. I'm a powerlifter. I train 4 days a week, and as a powerlifter, the main movements are squats, bench, and deadlift, SBD. Now, on the Monday, I train, it's my first day, I have squat and bench. What I tend to do is what a lot of powerlifters do. They have 2 squat sessions a week. Ooh. 2 squat sessions a week. You have a primary and a secondary squat day. Bench, I train 4 times a week. So every time I'm in the gym, I'm benching. You have a primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary bench. It basically just means 1, 2, 3, 4, and a deadlift either primary and secondary. So what this means is the primary is literally just the movement. So squat, bench with a pause, because you have to pause in competition, and just deadlift. The secondary, tertiary, and quaternary are always sort of variations. So you'll see here some of the variations: pause squat, tempo bench, pause deadlift, and close grip. So there's some of the secondary, tertiary, quaternary. But my split here, break this down. On the Monday, so I always do it in squat, bench, deadlift order. Monday, I'm training squat and bench. I'm doing my secondary squat, so it's pause squat. And this is a week 1. So the way powerlifting works is you do a block, which is 4 weeks, and you start off with like an RPE 5, 5.5, and then build up to like a 6 and like a 7, and then finish off on an 8, and then you reset. So progressively overloading, basically. I start off on the pause squat, and then I have my competition bench. So this is my secondary bench. Day 2, I usually do this day 2 the day after my Monday on Tuesday, so day after that session. There's not a lot of fatigue, especially after squatting. You're not squatting again for 3 days, so you don't have much fatigue, especially with the low RPEs like a 5 and 6. Day 2, I'm benching and deadlifting again in that SBD order. So I have my tempo bench, but I also have paused back offs. So I'm doing my top set on tempo, which is 3 seconds down, 3-second pause and up. Or this is special kind of tempo where it's 4 seconds down, 1 second pause, and then just up. Pause deadlifts, just to help with that lockout. Basically breaking the ground and then pausing it and then lifting it up. And then you have I always have some accessories after my main movements. So I train bench, so triceps, chest, Lou raises, which is just like lat raises but full range of motion. And then I've gone and trained deadlift, so I'll train some back, and then some like legs, zesty machine, abductors. Friday, I treat this as a primer session, literally just to get ready for this main session, which is SBD. It's SBD session. So I've just got bench. I've got close grip bench just to work on my triceps, but very low RPE, a lot of volume, not a lot of intensity. You'll see as well, like sort of with these, like I've got low volume, so it's high intensity. Like it's like a 6, and it will build up to like an 8 at the end of the block. Whereas these are high volume, low intensity, and I just some like sort of back muscles, just so that when I go into my session, this session, I can feel what muscles need to be engaged. So I'm doing lat pull down. I can feel my lats on the deadlifts, so I know I'm engaging them. My day 4, the SBD session, I'm doing my primary squat, primary bench, primary deadlift. That's just sort of a little run through what I'm doing as a powerlifter. Now, different muscle groups. A lot of different muscle groups, and a lot of them are going to make you look a certain way, but I would recommend to sort of train every single one of them as intensely as the other. There's going to be some muscle groups that respond very well to you. So for me, my legs and chest and back as well just responded very well, whereas my arms didn't as much. It took a little bit of work, but just sort of experimenting with how many times I can train them. So like for example, my triceps are literally getting trained 4 times a week, whereas my biceps are only getting trained once. Triceps took a lot to build, but it's just all about experimenting. First muscle group, legs. The most important one, in my opinion, because you can't be looking like that on top and then just skinny legs. I did for a long time. Don't do that. Now, the legs consist of 4 smaller muscles. You have the quads, glutes, calves, and hamstrings. The quads, sort of this part of the muscle, the main part. Glutes, this part. Calves, this here. And hamstrings is this lower part. By far, for me, the main 2, quads and hamstrings, especially as a power lifter. Squatting and deadlifting, hamstrings are going to be very important. But I would not lack on calves. Some ways to train these muscles: quads, simple exercise like leg extensions, glutes as well, leg extensions, hip thrusts, stuff like that. Hamstrings, leg curls, lying leg curls, amazing. These are genuinely built on my legs so much. Training at that sort of higher rep range with these, at sort of a lower lower intensity, higher volume. My legs took quite a while to grow. One of the main things as well is squatting. I don't know why, but just heavy squats just literally built up all these muscles. Calves, the only way to train them is like calf raises. They're boring, but just incorporate them. Even if you train them once or twice a week, just get them done. But yeah, some exercises: quads, just leg raises, glutes, even like Romanian deadlifts, stiff leg deadlifts, hip thrusts, calves. You can do standing calf raises, seated calf raises. Hamstrings, just leg curls. Just absolutely spam leg curls. Next muscle group. It lets me. There we go. Abs. Now, a common mistake people always say: abs are made in the kitchen. This is not true. No muscle is made in the kitchen. Muscles are made in the gym and are shown in the kitchen. Build all this muscle. You're training your legs. They're gonna get big. But if you're 20% body fat, 30% body fat, you're not gonna see all these little striations and veins and stuff. Muscles are shown in the kitchen, but they are made in the gym. If you're eating the calorie deficit, you're gonna lose fat. You're gonna look like this. Got the veins, got all the little. You can see the difference between the muscles. Whereas when you're a little bit higher body fat percentage, like me here, got some little abs there. You can't. There's no striations. There's nothing like that. Whereas here, I was a lot less body fat. You can see the abs. You can see sort of the difference between the muscles here. So abs, to train them, just stuff like, I don't know, the plank, leg raises, crunches, anything like that. Because they are made with the exercises, but they are shown in the kitchen. If you're high body fat, no muscle is going to get shown. Chest, the best muscle. There are three sort of separate parts of the chest. You have the upper chest, mid chest, and the lower chest. Now, it is sort of all one muscle, but I like to think of it as three different ones. The upper chest is what's going to give you that shelf look. If you just train sort of mid and lower chest, you're going to get that droopy sort of look. But upper chest is made with sort of incline movements, so like incline bench, like low to high rate, what they called low to high flies. The mid chest is made from just flat movements, flat bench, flat flies. The lower chest, decline movements, low fly movements, decline bench, and the chest is sort of made up with two movements. You have push movement, bench press, dumbbell press, anything like that, and then fly movements, which is just like cable flies, dumbbell flies, anything like that. Now, the three main movements I always loved with chest: push movement, specifically like an incline dumbbell press, get that upper chest looking nice. A fly movement, an incline fly movement, seated cable flies, and then something small like if you want to do like a flat barbell bench or a flat fly movement, anything like that. I would prioritize that upper chest, because if you hit that upper chest, this part of the chest is getting hit as well. But you don't want this part overdeveloped, otherwise it will just look droopy, it will just look saggy. You don't want that. Back. Back is what's going to give you that V-taper look, as well as the shoulders, but specifically the back. You're going to go looking like this rather than just straight. Back is made up of four sort of separate muscles. You have the traps, which is this part, going up the neck from the shoulders. The lats, this part here, hanging off the sides. The mid back, which is all this part here. And then the rear delts, which is just the back of the shoulders. The two sort of main parts with back, I would say, are the lats and mid back, specifically the lats. The lats are, that is what hangs off. That's going to give you that massive sort of back looking like that when you're walking around in a shirt. And the mid back as well. This part you want developed. But there are some separate parts to train, or separate movements to train for each specific smaller muscle group. Traps, I love doing, or used to love doing sort of shrugs. Just grab like a heavy barbell or even a machine. I'd go to a gym that has a machine for it. And you're just shrugging like that. You're building up that muscle there. Lats, anything like lat pull down. It's in the name. But I like single-handed lat pull down. It just gives me a better stretch, gives me a better contraction. Mid back, any row movement. I like sort of a high row, so I can work on this bit. And then doing a lower row. And also you can have your hands on separate sort of places on the row. So if you have your hand like that, you're doing sort of a higher mid back. Whereas if you've got your hands sort of like that, you're targeting that lower back, a little bit of your lats as well. And then rear delts. This is part of the shoulder, but it's shown more in the back. This part here, anything like cable pulls. That's it really. Cable pulls. You can do reverse chest flies, shoulders. Three main parts of the shoulder again. This again, it's going to give you that V look. Where is it? You got your front delt, which is this part here, at the front, sort of part of your chest here. Side delt, this is the main part of it. It's going to give you that boulder look. The only way to train that is literally with like sort of lat raises, cables, dumbbells, loo raises, what I do, and rear delt. But I would say the small part back, shown more here. But yeah, it's behind there. Arms, three main parts: biceps, triceps, and forearms. Triceps are 2/3 the arm, I believe. Do not lack on them. You also have the forearm, this bit, don't lack on them either because you're going to look skinny. But a lot of people just spam biceps. I would genuinely just prefer to spam triceps. It's going to look so much bigger. You'd rather have an overdeveloped tricep than a bicep. And that is it for muscle groups. Now, some common mistakes I would make. Start here. Maxing out every day. When you're starting, you're sort of progressing at such a quick rate. Okay, you might go for a bench PR. You're going, okay, 60. The next day I want to go 65. The next day 70, so on, so on. And you probably can do that, but it's going to mess up your CNS so much. And eventually, when you start getting a little bit stronger and going to the gym for a little bit more, you're not going to be able to max out every day. I can barely max out every month. Another one, skipping legs. You do not want to do that no matter what. You don't want to have that weird little skinny leg look. Supplements equal growth. Supplements not equal growth. They're genuinely a waste of money if you don't need them. Anything that they promise you is usually rubbish. And lifting stunts growth. It does not stunt growth. So many people sort of read their Facebook posts and whatnot. Lifting does not stunt growth. If anything, it'll make you grow more, especially with the extra protein and whatnot you're eating. But that's it.